they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so before we get into it, let's have a brief word from our sponsors at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and for the men, don't forget she also has a lovely beard oil. All right, so with that all being said, let's get into it. Okay, let's see who's in here. All right, Diddy in Dallas, Miss Sheila, G from the land, Jeff ATL. All right, let's get into it. Nessa G, Panther Strike is here. Buckhorse DC, Juju is in the house. James Allen. All right, Anita Harrell. I already said Panther Strike. Khalid is in the house. All right, Claudette. It's Bree to you. Most hated bronze flat power god. The Crazy Beach Aries. All right. We the people is here. Okay. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because they be putting in work. Okay. No more drama is here. All right. Let's get into it, Sheila. So with that all being said, let me tell you guys something. If you all have not been checking out my friend Conversations with Jay, and that's conversation spelled Khan, Versations. Okay, make sure you check him out. I was cracking up yesterday because he went in on Teray. Now, for those of you who remember, when I was at Diddy's trial, I was going in on Teray, okay? I was chasing him down and asking him why he was so quiet all of a sudden. But anyway, so Jay went in on him yesterday. It was hilarious because, you know, apparently Teray's been telling lies on Diddy, just making up stuff that didn't even happen in the courtroom. And, you know, for the most part, he wasn't even there at court, but he's talking as though he were. He was there all of 2 or 3 days, okay? And that was in the overflow room. So I just want you all to pay attention to how people just keep lying, okay, for clicks and views. But it was really hilarious to watch, okay? And so you all make sure you check him out. And he also has some motivational stuff on there as well. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. Everybody hit that like button. Thank you for your cooperation and participation. And if you missed the first episode of True Crime Sundays on yesterday, please go back and check that out. We'll be doing that every Sunday, okay? Every Sunday until further notice. Okay, so now here's the thing. I find it all interesting. Okay, I find it all interesting that Diddy made a post. Now, I really didn't think anything of it when I saw the post. The post was deleted. But people are just all in a frenzy over this little old post. Now, first of all, they're trying to figure out what it means. Okay. And I just think it's all just, much to do about nothing. Okay. Much to do about nothing. But I just want you to pay attention to how Diddy seems to have all these people's attention. Okay. They are still paying attention to all things Diddy, even when it's nothing really there to see. Okay. So let's get into it. Diddy, all eyes on him, as he quickly posts and deletes side-eye emoji. Now, this is what everybody is all concerned about. I want y'all to pay attention. Likes up, everyone. Please hit that like button if you don't mind. Okay? Hit the like button if you don't mind. All right, hold on. Y'all see that? That's all the man posted, and everybody's all in an uproar. Just the side-eye emoji? That could have meant anything. Diddy in Dallas said Diddy posted those eyes to let folks know he see y'all. LOL. Okay, so anyway, let's get into what they are saying, okay? Because here's what TMZ has to say about it. Okay, it's been a while since the disgraced music mogul shared anything on Elon Musk's social media site. So fans can't quite understand why he posted such a random message just to scratch it from existence. Some fans hypothesize that he's teasing his new music, while others claimed he's hinting at some personal knowledge of the federal government's recent meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. I just want y'all to pay attention. Now, they got all of this from a side-eye emoji, okay? And so they claim that some people say he has personal knowledge. He's hinting at personal knowledge of the federal government's recent meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, during which her lawyer said she named 100 people linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, TMZ reached out to Diddy's team for comment, and so far, no word back. There's nothing to say or nothing to see. These people are so desperate, okay? Diddy's X feed isn't very active. He shared a snapshot of his family in May and posted early Saturday morning to encourage fans to listen to his son, King Combs, and Kanye West collab called Diddy Free. As you know, Kanye has been advocating for Diddy's release from prison for quite some time. The Last Night artist was convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution during his trial in June, but was let off of the more serious racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. He was denied bail and is awaiting his October sentencing at the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York. In the meantime, TMZ was told Diddy is staying quite busy, participating in various self-improvement programs to address his drug use and violence against women. Okay, I mean, that's what he should be doing. Okay, he's taking accountability. Now, here are some things that people said about the post. I just want y'all to see this because this is so ridiculous. When I read this morning, I literally was cracking up. So someone by the name of Kai said, "Why was there a Diddy tweet on my screen?" And then June says he's teasing his release party. Hustle Biach says, "Explain this. How the hell did Diddy just post eyes from prison?" First of all, he's not in prison, okay? And then Tara says, "Why would Diddy post this and then immediately delete it?" And then Chris says, "Did y'all see Diddy tweet the effing eyes emoji?" Like, this is how you know people don't have anything else to do, okay? I want y'all to pay attention. This is what you call grasping at straws and putting 20 on 10, okay? I want you all to pay attention. James said, Diddy said he's coming. Oh my goodness, this is all so hilarious to me. Okay? Cool Breeze said, people out here just assuming. Exactly. And making up lies and all of that. Some of them anyway. Now, with that all being said, what I found most interesting of this morning's news was the fact that the S worker, Clayton Howard, aka Dave, Remember he filed that lawsuit June the 30th of 2025 against Diddy and Cassie, saying that Cassie gave him an STD. And we all thought that he was talking about chlamydia because he did mention that Cassie gave him chlamydia. That's actually in his book. And then he said it in an interview. And then he claims that Cassie said she had a chlamydia scare or something like that. So that's what we thought was the end of it, right? But alas, there's more. Because now they say that the S-worker suing Diddy and Cassie has medical diagnosis publicized despite his pleas to seal the documents. So he didn't want his diagnosis put out there. Okay. And I was wondering, well, when he said something about chlamydia, I'm like, if you had chlamydia all those years ago and got rid of it, why are you trying to sue now? But apparently he's saying that he has the gift that keeps on giving. Okay. At least that's what the report says. Clayton Howard is suing Diddy and Cassie for an alleged pattern of abuse and coercion, and he recently had a herpes diagnosis made public after motioning for privacy. Clayton Howard took a loss in his lawsuit against Diddy and Cassie after personal medical records revealing his herpes diagnosis were made public despite his plea for privacy. Now, why would they put the man's diagnosis out there? So Howard previously filed a motion to seal portions of his S-trafficking lawsuit. The suit includes allegations of abuse and medical information that he says could cause serious harm if released. However, the sensitive documents were posted on the federal court's online system before a formal ruling on the motion. So Howard notified the court, claiming the release violated privacy protections under HIPAA and federal court rules. Now, he asked for the immediate removal of the documents, which the judge considered his application, or while the judge considered his application. Judge Ann Huang denied Howard's initial request to seal the records, but allowed him to submit a revised motion by August the 4th of 2025. However, she ordered a temporary seal to block public access to some of Howard's private health details. Well, that sounds like it's too little too late because this is already out here. Okay, so Howard's civil suit filed on July the 4th accuses Diddy and Cassie of years of sexual exploitation and emotional abuse beginning in 2009. Now, he claims he was coerced into performing at their freak-off parties. He alleged that he was often under the influence of ecstasy, allegedly provided by Cassie. The complaint also alleges Cassie transmitted a previously unnamed STD to Howard. The STD has now been confirmed as herpes. Okay, he also alleged that he got Cassie pregnant and she terminated the pregnancy without informing him. Beyond the recent lawsuits, Diddy made headlines on Friday evening, July the 25th, when his ex account reportedly tweeted and deleted an eyeball emoji. The context behind the post was unclear. Still, it marked the first social media activity of any kind for the disgraced mogul since receiving his mixed verdict on July the 2nd. Do they have to keep referring to this man as the disgraced mogul? How many times are they going to say it? Diddy avoided the most serious charges, both of which came with maximum sentences of life in prison. However, he remains in jail and he still faces a potential 20 years in prison, though both the prosecution and defense recommend shorter sentences. Judge Arun Subramanian will make his decision on October the 3rd. Here's the thing. I heard from a little birdie that the prosecution can't even find a case that's similar to Diddy's, so they can refer it to the judge. Okay, so they can recommend that the judge give Diddy the similar sentence. The only one that I'm sure they could find is the one with Jack Johnson. And Jack Johnson only got a year and a day. And so if that's the one they have, and that's the only one they can find, well, Diddy will be out of there October the 3rd. Diddy be out of there October 3rd. How much you want to bet? And here's the thing. Remember when Diddy got acquitted of the most serious charges, the 2 counts of S-trafficking and the racketeering, and Maureen Comey, right as the judge was about to give Diddy a bail and go and, at least look into it, Maureen Comey stood up. No, he's violent. What about all the times? She brought all that stuff up. Let me tell you something. Maureen was so embarrassed that she didn't prove her case. And do you know how stupid that she and the other 6-pack of white women would have looked if, in fact, Diddy had waltzed out of there on that same day, and they couldn't have that. Okay, they couldn't have that. But anyway, so what do you all think? Do you all think that Clayton Howard has a viable case? Do you all think so? Do y'all think he's lying? What do you think? What do you think? You see, here's the thing. He says that Cassie gave it to him, and I believe she did. Let's not forget how she testified, or we read, I'm sorry, she didn't testify to this, but we actually saw the text messages in court where she said she had sores in her mouth. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Talking about them sores was in her mouth and all that stuff. Anyway, the life of doing freak offs. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, let's continue. Because there's also some audio of Clayton Howard talking about how Cassie was threatening him. Honey, I didn't know she was threatening him. Cassie was a real gangster, okay, accordingly. I mean, at the end of the day, now I'm really starting to see even more so why Mark Agnifilo said Cassie was just keeping it gangster. Remember how she went in on that audio and was threatening that man and saying she'll have him chopped up into bits and pieces? Well, Clayton says that she threatened him too. Okay, he says that she threatened him too, and I'm going to play the audio. Likes up, everyone, please like and share, okay? Please like and share. And here's the thing. Nessa G said, remember, Diddy was surprised she didn't use protection. Exactly. Okay, exactly. It's all nefarious. I want you all to pay attention, because more and more stuff keeps coming out about that little old Cassie, whom some of y'all still want to make excuses and allowances for and don't want to hold her feet to the fire, okay, like you did Diddy. And I find it all interesting. But what do I know? Now let's listen to this, because as I said, this is audio. Cassie making threats, okay? Let me put on some music in the background, because y'all know TMZ, honey. They don't mind hitting you with a copyright strike. Hold on. I mean, Cassie was really a gangster. She was gangsta boo, no less. Going around here threatening grown men. Okay, here we go.
Really needed the money. Two, Mr. Combs is incredibly powerful, and Miss Ventura had no problem in her use of that power, which has actually been revealed now, because we've heard recordings of her threatening people. We've seen text messages. There are many different sides to people, and even Cassie is a normal individual. She has herself. There's a side to her that people don't, the side that manipulated Sean Combs' power, the side that embraced his power and his position to do things that she wanted. So I was always afraid if I stopped coming, then I would start having problems, because she threatened me several times not to come and made me feel uncomfortable that I would come to see her just to avoid any problem with Sean Combs. He's incredibly powerful. He has people that could follow me around, damaging my life for years, and it would cost him nothing to do it. So I want to say I continued in the situation, but not as much. There was many times that I did stall them, flake on them, as the word goes, and not show up. But I kept the relationship strong enough that they never thought I was trying to turn on them or betray their secrets. I have been trying to file litigation for this matter against Sean Combs and Cassie since, I want to say, March of 2024, maybe February. But I was represented by Tyrone Blackburn. And Tyrone Blackburn has a substantial amount of litigation against Sean Combs, that the conviction of Sean Combs was dependent on him winning a lot of his civil cases. My attorney intentionally held the filing back to protect the credibility of Cassie. Tyrone Blackburn, he intentionally held it back. I have numerous communications to him where I am directly informing him to file. He would talk to the prosecutors, and then he would duck me for weeks and not file the lawsuit. So this is why it was never filed. I feel he was working with them. He had conversations with them without me. He literally would disobey my direct instruction. I'm the client. I'm the one who's supposed to direct my attorney to make decisions. If I tell you to exercise a statute for a claim, as my attorney, you can either quit or you can do it. What Tyrone did was duck me into the statute of the Gender Motivated Violence Act that expired this year, in March. He ducked me until maybe 48 hours before the expiration of the statute, so I wouldn't have enough time to draft the complaint that I filed myself that you found me with now. If the U.S. Attorney's Office knows all of this and investigated her, and instead of prosecuting her, allowed her to have immunity and didn't prosecute her, me going after her for criminal charges kind of makes like vindictive. And I don't want that. That's the mission of my lawsuit. The mission of my lawsuit is to obtain justice for the things that I truthfully know Cassandra did. It's not about having her put in prison. I don't want to destroy her life. She has 3 beautiful children. She seems happily married. The truth of the matter is she never created this facade of a lie. I would never be talking about this. No one would ever believe me that I had the relationship I had with Cassie. Cassie is the one who brought me forward. She did this to herself. I told the U.S. Attorney's Office the truth of both parties, that they were co-conspirators. They were involved. They verified hotel locations. I saw text messages between me and Cassie. The U.S. Attorney's Office knew that Cassie was criminally complicit, but Sean Combs was more important, so they totally ignored it. It makes no sense for me to try to get criminal charges. They don't care about male victims. They care about empowering Cassie, and forgive me for saying this, with the Me Too movement.
Well, no lies detected. Y'all heard what that man said. I absolutely agree. He said Cassie embraced Diddy's power and that she was manipulating him, rugging him, and traumatizing him. Okay? Now, y'all can believe it or leave it, but I'm going to tell you like this. I absolutely believe it. Okay? I absolutely believe it. Now, with that all being said, let me read some of these comments before I continue. James Allen says, I told you, Queen, 2 months ago, Cassie isn't the innocent girl people thought she was. And she was a colorist against Kim Porter. Well, honey, I absolutely agree with you on that. According to Kim Porter's friends, she sure was. Okay? That's why all these black women out here acting like she's such a victim, honey, can miss me with it because they sound like fools. Okay? That's how they sound to me. Okay? So anyway, Miss Mississippi said, that's why I say Cassie will not have to pay any money in this lawsuit. She has the complexion for the protection. Oh, honey, she's going to pay. She's going to pay. His medical records have already been divulged that he has herpes. So with that all being said, I'm pretty sure she has it too. At least I think she does, because why did she have those sores in her mouth? Okay, and let's not forget Jonathan Oddie said he sued Diddy for giving it to him when he was having freak-offs with Diddy and Cassie, and he got $5 billion. I think that's what he said. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what he said. So, honey, Cassie's going to have to pay up too. Okay, she's going to have to pay up too. Okay, Freeborn said Cassie, like J-Lo, made lots of colorist remarks against Kim Porter. Right, and I heard she said something about she would have prettier babies with Diddy than Kim. Okay, now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the word was on the street. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, Panther Strike said the truth of the matter is Cassie wanted more money out of this federal witch hunt. Yes, exactly. I agree. I agree. Okay, so Leon said she sure did. Nubian Cutie said, I don't want her life destroyed either, but atonement needs to take place for her pimp-like past actions. Okay. Cool Breeze said, well, if he never was in the escorting business, he wouldn't have even been in this mess. So there's that. I know that's right, honey. Okay. Y'all are something else. That is absolutely right. Cool Breeze. All right. Nelson G said, this is why I said she didn't have UTIs when she was lying on the stand. Yeah, she said she was always getting these UTIs like every week so much that the medicine wasn't working. Girl, at what point do you stop having freak-offs if that's the case? And if you're having UTIs constantly, how are you having all these freak-offs? Like, honey, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think there were some lies definitely being told them. She could have been having them, especially with all that oil that we're using, because, you know, if you get that oil up in there, you might get a UTI. But, you know, maybe she was exaggerating. I'm no gynecologist, so let me just hush. Okay. Miss Sheila said Kim was classy and was striking. Kim Porter never had to have any work done, if any. They better move around. I'm a Kim supporter all the way. Me too, honey. You already know. Okay. Leon Gardner says, the unjust don't profit. That's right, beloved. That is right, honey. You can't win when you play dirty. Please pay attention. Mm-hmm. This is all crazy, but let me continue. Likes up, everybody. We about to get into it today, honey. Let me tell y'all something. Nefarious ones. Y'all know I have the most nefarious chat in all the land. Let me tell you about something else. Hold on. I got to tell you guys what Megyn Kelly is out here saying about Diddy. Megyn Kelly, please sit down. Okay, please sit down. All right, because why is she just now deciding to tell this story? All right, or is this a story she previously told and they're just now reporting on it? I don't know, but we're going to listen to it. Okay, we're going to listen to it. Now, listen, let me tell you all something. Some people are still in their feelings, even though Diddy has been acquitted of the racketeering and the 2 trafficking charges. Some people are still mad. Now, I know it's none of my loyal royals because my loyal royals have sense, okay, common sense as well as critical thinking skills. All right. But some people are still mad and they actually sound crazy because they think, obviously, that they're smarter than the prosecution. They say things like, well, the prosecution didn't do a good job of laying out their case. If they had done it this way, then they could have gotten a conviction. So you mean to tell me you know how they should have done it and they didn't? The prosecution didn't prove their case because there was no case to prove. There was no trafficking. There was no racketeering. That's why they didn't prove their case. Okay, it had nothing to do with them being incompetent. Okay, lest I remind you again that Maureen Comey, even though I don't like her, she's a whole Karen, but she did go to Harvard. Okay, that's the cream of the crop. So with that all being said, I'm pretty sure she knew what she was doing. She just couldn't prove her case because she in fact had no case. Okay, she in fact had no case, so just accept the defeat. Okay, all these people who wanted Diddy just to go down, just to be going down, honey, y'all just need to give it up. Y'all just need to give it up, okay? You got people out here mad and butthurt, been out of shape. All right? Because things didn't go the way they wanted. Shouldn't you, in fact, be grateful that Cassie wasn't as trafficked and that Jane Doe wasn't as trafficked? Shouldn't you be thrilled? Miss Sheila said, this is getting ridiculous. They need mental help. They are mad at a man they don't even know. Holding on to this isn't normal. It absolutely isn't normal. It absolutely isn't normal, beloved. I think some of these people have mental health issues, specifically the ones who sit up here and make up whole lies and then go in on the person still to this day and going in on their kids and anybody who knows them. Just crazy. Okay? Just absolutely crazy, in my opinion. Now, TC Dan wants me to get on Trump because that's who he can't stand. TC Dan said, why is Trump's ugly mug staring at us, Queen? Well, because we're about to talk about him as soon as we finish talking about Diddy and Cassie. Okay? Jeff ATL said Cassie is an effing madam. Let's talk about Megyn Kelly because Megyn Kelly is another Karen that I can't stand. P. Diddy was dry humping a Kardashian in the women's restroom. This is what Megyn Kelly's talking about, y'all. Please pay attention. Honey, she probably made this story all up. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe anything that she says, okay? But I'm going to go to the audio or the video of her saying this. I want y'all to listen to this fool because that's all she is a goddamn fool. I cannot stand Megyn Kelly, okay? But I want y'all to hear this because, listen, because Diddy got off, people like Megyn Kelly, people like Nasty Grace, okay, and fake Nancy Drew, they are so mad. They act as though their very lives are ruined, okay? So they have to keep going around here telling all these crazy stories. Now let's get into it because, lady, please sit down somewhere. Please sit down somewhere. I'm going to put an overlay over this because I don't need any copyright issues. But I want y'all to hear this fool. And then it's very vague what she says. She doesn't even give specifics, which further leads me to believe she's telling a whole damn lie. Okay, let's get into it.
To the Met Gala. I went 2 years, Maureen. And
Really?
what I remember, yes. You know, Anna Wintour and I used to be, well, no, we weren't friends, but she was cozying up to me when she thought Trump didn't like me. She was like, oh, then I must like her. So I went there. And the thing I remember most from being there was P. Diddy in the restroom of the Met. It was the women's room. That's why I was there. Okay. Dry humping a Kardashian. Like,
I heard the dry humping anecdote, but I don't think you revealed the name.
Yeah, there were multiple Kardashians in there. And like that other sort of lame supermodel version, you know, like not the real supermodels like we grew up with, but like these new influencer types.
Right.
They were all in there. No one was using the bathroom. They were smoking and dry
Right.
humping. And that was P. Diddy. Like, I'm just saying there's a pattern of disrespect for others and our sacred places and things that should be treated as inviolate. And it applies to places and it applies to people. And I have no idea what this guy is capable of, but I think it's probably worse than we can even imagine. So if I were in the SDNY, I'd be really seriously considering getting all of my witnesses protection and making sure that neither he nor his people had any way of threatening or accessing them.
Girl, shut your ugly arse up. I cannot stand that witch. Okay? Instead of sitting there worried about what the hell Diddy is doing or what he's going to do next, what his next move is, why don't she talk about some of these people who look like her? Okay? Why doesn't she do that? Wasn't it one of her co-workers who was accused of something salacious? Let's get into it. Okay, likes up, please, like and share. Okay, let's just call these people out. Let's call these people out because here's what I'm starting to find out. Do you all know that there's a lot of people that talk ish about Diddy and they are just as low down as they claim he is? I want y'all to pay attention. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Hold on, beloveds. Now let's get into it. Here we go. Because I could have sworn that Matt Lauer, why isn't she talking about him? Okay. Why isn't she talking about him still? Why isn't she going in on him? Why isn't she still talking about Bill O'Reilly? I have several questions. Is he dead? Maybe that's why she's not talking about him. But anyway, my point is this. Nonetheless, she didn't have all that energy for these people. That's what I'm saying. And I'm talking about Megyn, Karen, Kelly. Okay. Yeah. All right. So anyway, there was a whole grape allegation brought against Matt Lauer, the Today Show anchor. All right. Now she said something about him, but she didn't say much. And she darn sure didn't keep going in on him like she's doing Diddy. Because remember just days ago, she said, I will never let anybody forget what Diddy did. As if we need her to remind us. Okay. I think it's pretty much cemented in history at this point. Okay. With all the nefarious allegations. But what also should be cemented in history is the fact that he was acquitted. Okay. He beat the feds who have a 95 to 97% conviction rate. So here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention because people are so foolish and fickle. The bottom line is this. People want to sit up here and act like the feds didn't bring their case the way they should have and that they could have done a better job. Okay. Bottom line is this. The feds have a 95% conviction rate for a reason. And that's because they know what they're doing. They got Ghislaine Maxwell, right? They would have gotten Epstein if he had been murked in his cell before he could make it to trial. But at the end of the day, they didn't get Sean Diddy Combs because he didn't do what they said he did. I told you all they overcharged him. Okay. So please sit down somewhere. Now, let's talk about Teray for a minute. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So, wait a minute. I'm finding out stuff that I didn't even know. Okay, so let's talk about Teray. Y'all know who Teray is, right? Y'all know who Teray is. Teray is a journalist. Now, some of you may not have known that Teray was actually accused of workplace sexual harassment. He says it was edgy, crass banter. That's what he said. This is the man who was going in on R. Kelly and also was going in on Diddy. Hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, now let's talk about it. This was January of 2019. Journalist Teray. Let me show this on my screen. I didn't even know anything about this until I saw my friend Jay talking about it yesterday on his live. I said, what? I know darn well he didn't have all this to say about Diddy. Do y'all see this? This is Teray. Teray, I'm ashamed of you, honey. I thought you were a whole legend, but turns out you a freaking deaky dog. Okay, y'all listen to this. This is a man who been talking all this stuff about Diddy, calling Diddy nasty, spreading lies about Diddy because of stuff that he said that conversations with Jay played on his live yesterday, it was all lies. I was there in the court, so I know it was lies. Jay knew it was lies too because he was there. So I want you all to pay attention and go check out that video if you get a chance. Okay, now listen to this. People out here just lying and then got skeletons in their own closet, no less. Just days after the 3-night, 6-hour premiere of Surviving R. Kelly, in which survivors, celebrities, and journalists detail Kelly's alleged history of mental, emotional, and sexual abuse, one famed contributor has been hit with his own questionable allegations. According to Essence, Teray Neblett, known professionally by his first name, Teray, has been accused of workplace sexual harassment. Now, the 47-year-old journalist and an author famously interviewed Kelly in 2008 about the sexual assault allegations brought forth against him, in which the singer-songwriter dropped the infamous question, when you say teenage, how old are we talking? Y'all remember that? But now Neblett is reportedly facing allegations of his own after a makeup artist shared the revelation in an Instagram comment. His own makeup artist exposed him. And here's what she said. She said, but hashtag Teray Show used to actually harass me. How that work? Danny Makeup wrote an Instagram post highlighting a recent podcast interview with Teray and Jamila Lemieux about Kelly's predator behavior, saying every Monday I used to work with him on a show in 2017, and he couldn't stop asking me to do anal. That's what she said about Teray, talking about the back door. How I looked naked and if I had sex over the weekend, what it would be like to F me, what his cum would look like on my face. And I had to have the crew stay in the room with me while I got him ready. And when I left, I called HR. Y'all hear this? Teray, you should be ashamed of yourself. He got fired instantly. Danny Makeup continued. She says he wrote me a huge apology for doing that in my DMs. Still have it. He did a 2020 shoot in 2018, and I was there, and he walked out. Told the producer that he was embarrassed because he was inappropriate with a staff member. He really needs to take a seat. Okay? Y'all hear that? Isn't that something? I mean, the nerve. I mean, the pot talking about the kettle, honey. So I just thought that was very interesting. Okay, because Teray, I mean, he's out here going hard in the paint on Diddy. Yeah. Is he trying to act like he's so down for the victims because he was doing things like that? And here's another thing. Teray versus the United States. Hold on, what is this? Hold on, you guys. Let me make sure this is the right Teray, honey. I don't want to be telling lies on anybody. Let me see what this is here. Oh, no, this is something else. Okay, I was about to say, I know he didn't do a crime, did he? But anyway, I just want you all to pay attention. Now, you sitting there asking somebody about their back door constantly, and somebody's working with you. Okay, no less. Okay, can you imagine? Can you imagine? And then talking about how does she think his cum would look on her face? Honey, I probably would have gone upside his head. I probably would have been the one fired because I probably would have went straight upside his head with the quickness. These people out here talking about Diddy and honey, they got their own crosses to bear, is all I'm saying. James said that's why he been ghost on lamestream media, but he want to pop out on Diddy. Exactly. And now he's a YouTuber. Ha! He went from being a whole legend in the world of journalism. Now he's just a YouTuber like everybody else. Teray, sit down somewhere. See, and some of y'all were asking me, Queen, why are you harassing Teray? Why are you harassing Teray? That's why. Okay. That's why. All right. I didn't even know he was a low down, dirty dog like that, but I knew he was lying. James Allen said, that's fighting words. Okay. Oh, Leon said, we know what you would have done, Queen. Okay. All right. At the end of the day, honey, these people out here lying just to be lying, honey. But anyway, I digress. And speaking of lies, hold on. I need to show you all something. You all know who Dennis Byron is? Dennis Byron is a reporter that I met when I was in New York. Now, Dennis Byron took it upon himself to write a poem about somebody who's been telling all these lies around here in these YouTube streets. Now, y'all know I'm not one to gossip. Y'all know I am never messy. I repeat, never. But today I'm about to be messy. Okay? Please pay attention. Panther Strike said that backdoor thing never appealed to me, nor would I ever do that with a woman. Miss Sheila said Dennis is a trip. Isn't he though? Isn't he though? Angela said, we know. Yes, we know Dennis. We like him. I like him too. But let's get into it. Okay. James Allen says, I haven't seen Tisa Lies post anything recently. I'm sure she'll be out in a minute. Just pay attention. But anyway, here's the thing. Let's talk about this poem that Dennis wrote. Dennis is a whole mess. Hold on. Here it is right here. Now, I have to give credit where it's due because this poem was very thorough. I'm going to share it on the screen. So y'all don't think I made it up. But they wanted to say that me and Ratchet TV was hating on her when everybody on YouTube just about with sense is talking about how she's a liar who lies. And Dennis took it upon himself to write a poem, honey. Let's talk about it. It's called Tisa Tells Tall Tales. I don't know if you all can see this or not. I'm going to try to enlarge it just a bit. I'm going to see if Dennis can write a poem about me. Okay, can y'all see that? This is all nefarious. This must be one of Dennis's side hustles. Okay, now here's what it says. Tisa tells tall tales. Hashtag free Diddy, hashtag Tisa tells. Photo credit and poem by Mr. Dennis Byron. Here's what it says. There once was a vlogger named Tisa Tells who spit up a story like casting spells. With thumbnails bold and clickbait flair, she'd whisper, Diddy did it, live on air. She swore she was journalism's voice, though facts and receipts weren't her weapon of choice. Instead, she'd gossip with federal flair, like the DOG paid for her wig and chair. Exclusive tea, she'd loudly boast, while microwaving yesterday's toast. The charges came. Oh, what a thrill. She danced on Diddy's legal will. But plot twist, y'all, the trial played out. The jury spoke without a doubt, acquitted on the biggest hit. Yet Tisa just couldn't quit her bit. She's back on YouTube, wild-eyed, loud, spitting new tales to please her crowd. A source she claims from deep inside. It's probably her cat or a DoorDash guy. Prosecutors grin from behind the screen. You go, Tisa, our PR queen. She's not a journo, not quite a sleuth, just a ring light, lies, and a half-truth. So here's to Tisa in her Echo Dome, still chasing Diddy from her ring light throne. He will eventually walk free, but in her head he stays rent-free for eternity and monopolized plays. And there's the picture he posted. Y'all, when I tell y'all, Sheila said no lies told. When I tell y'all, we have some creative ones on these YouTube streets. Okay, now, enough of that. Now, let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein and what's going on here. Because, you know, I have a sneaking suspicion that Trump, with his nefarious, lying, no good, dirty, low down self, is possibly trying to give Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon. I hope he's not that damn crazy, but we know he is crazy, right? And basically, I already told you there's not going to be anything to come from this. There's not going to be any new names brought forward. We're not going to hear about it. Whatever she's telling them, which is probably nothing. Okay, at the end of the day, they're going to sit there and act like they can't tell us what it is unless there's an investigation, which we know there's not going to be an investigation. Okay, but Trump would likely give her a pardon just so she never divulges any information about him, because we already have enough dirt on him, okay, to know that he absolutely unequivocally had something to do, a whole lot to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, that's just what it is. Okay, that's just what it is. All right, so with that all being said, this is all going to be bad for the Republicans, the GOP, come midterms. I hope you all know that, because Trump's own base is now turning against him. Finally, they're waking up. Now let's get into it. Likes up, please like and share. Now here's one of the Epstein victims who's coming out. There's been plenty of them coming out. There's plenty of them coming out, as I have shown you all before. AJ says nothing that orange clown could do would shock me. Exactly. I agree, beloved. I absolutely agree. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen because here's what a victim had to say.
Of the show, I played a soundbite from Maria Farmer, as you know, another Epstein survivor. And she said in the clip that we showed, she's never met a more predatory human being in her entire life than Ghislaine Maxwell. One, do you agree with that characterization? And two, how does it make you feel to know that the number 2 person in the Justice Department just spent 2 days alone with her, talking to her about the case, and now all the talk is about, well, what's going to come of it? Could a pardon come from those conversations?
I can say my experience with Ghislaine Maxwell. So what's interesting about what Maria has stated about her, I agree with that. And here is why. She did not present herself as evil and as a monster and as someone that's going to put my life or my well-being in harm's way. She came at me with politeness, with openness, with friendliness, you know, with making emotional connections with me, with the ability then to build this trust with me within hours. So her presence and her approach to me was so meticulously calculated that her intention behind all of this, I would even say, you know, beautiful humanitarian woman to woman interaction, it was all to fool me. It was all to get me to think one thing and believe that I was in a, as I said, a safe and healthy environment, when actually she was setting me up to then go into tragedy. When I'm contemplating and learning and listening about potential deals being stricken or released from prison, you know, what comes to mind a few times already is, are we actually going to have another sweetheart deal? I don't feel good about it at all, because I do take into consideration, and I feel like everyone should, the fact that she has been charged with perjury. She's already risen her right hand and sworn under oath that she would tell the truth and nothing but the truth. And she sat there and lied. What should we all think and feel then? You know, how concerned? I would be very concerned. For my safety, even, I would be concerned.
Okay, I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention, because here's the thing. Leon says, why not interview the victims? You know, that's a very good question, beloved. Okay, absolutely. If they claim that they want more information on Jeffrey Epstein and the people that were supposedly on the list or whatever, why don't they just talk to the victims that are still alive? Why don't they just ask them? Why are they asking a known liar, an S-trafficker, who has everything to gain by lying? Because she's trying to get a pardon. She wants an appeal and all of this. See, this is all very calculated, because like I said, Trump will likely try to act like, oh, she helped us out. She gave us information. We can't release the information because there's no investigation, because Epstein's dead. And so since she helped us, I'm going to go ahead and pardon her. That's what he's going to try to pull. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what that fool tries to pull. Okay? But here's the thing. Here's what Representative Massey said. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Massey says the Epstein controversy is going to hurt the Republicans during the midterms. Yeah, I absolutely agree. So he said on Sunday that the current controversy over convicted ex-offender Jeffrey Epstein is going to hurt the Republicans in midterms, saying this is going to hurt them and the voters will be apathetic if we don't hold the rich and powerful people accountable. Okay, this is what he told NBC News' Kristen Welker on Meet the Press in an interview alongside Representative Ro Khanna. He says, I think when we get back, we can get the signatures required to force this to the floor. Now, Speaker Mike Johnson should do the right thing and just bring it to the floor and not require us to force it. And he'll have a choice once we get those 218 signatures. And he was talking about the House's current recess and his resolution with Khanna on files related to Epstein. Now, President Trump and his administration have recently been facing pressure from both sides of the aisle over Epstein's case, with the saga throwing Congress into chaos. The House broke on Wednesday for its week-long August recess, shutting down one day earlier than initially planned, as the chamber was stuck in a log jam over the Epstein controversy. Now, Massey and Khanna's bill is one of two measures linked to the Epstein files, with 34 co-sponsors, 11 of them Republican. Some of the GOP names back in the bill include Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tim Burchett, and Lauren Boebert. House Speaker Mike Johnson said in an interview Thursday that files related to Epstein are not a hoax. He said it's not a hoax, of course. Okay. I mean, there are real victims here, but that's part of a delicate, the balance that's being done here is, I tried to explain in my press conference this week, man, we want full disclosure. If I had these things in my possession, I would have put them out a long time ago. But I would also have been very careful to protect the innocent, he added. And so they reached out to Johnson's office for a request for comment, and so far, no word back. Okay, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Because Trump's getting a whole bunch of backlash, and here's what they say. He faces backlash as 69% believe Epstein's details are concealed. Okay? Most Americans think President Donald Trump's administration is hiding information about accused S-trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and give it poor marks on the issue after pledging to make public documents in the case. Okay, make public documents in the case. Now, the two-day poll, which closed Wednesday, showed that 69% of respondents thought the federal government was hiding the details about Epstein's clients, compared to 6% who disagreed and about 1 in 4 who said they weren't sure. So Epstein, the wealthy financier and convicted S-trafficker, was facing federal, we already know the rest. Okay, so anyway, the case has captivated swaths of Trump's political base, who were expecting lurid details after some of Trump's top law enforcement officials said they would be releasing documents that would lead to major revelations about Epstein and his alleged clientele. Now, the Trump administration last week reversed course on its pledge, enraging some of the president's followers. Close to 2/3 of Republicans think the administration is hiding details on Epstein's business. So just 17% of Americans approve of Trump's handling of the case, a weaker rating than the president received on any other issue in the poll. Among Republicans, 35% approved compared to 29% who disapproved, and the rest who said they weren't sure or didn't answer the question. And so they reported on Wednesday that Trump and the White House officials were weighing a range of options, including unsealing new documents, appointing a special prosecutor, and drafting executive actions on issues such as PDF files. Now, Trump, however, has been defiant, describing supporters hung up on the issue as weaklings who were helping the Democrats, saying, I don't want their support anymore. Trump is so stupid. I want you all to pay attention. Does he think he's hurting their feelings at the end of the day? Now he's saying anybody who's still hung up on the Epstein files and all of that are just weaklings, troublemakers. Okay, he called them stupid. And now he's saying they're helping the Democrats and he doesn't want their support anymore. Well, the reason he doesn't want their support is because he knows he's not getting it, because people are waking up to his scam, okay, and his lies and BS. Now, the beliefs following Epstein's death were part of a range of conspiracies that have taken hold in the U.S. politics, including the, I don't want to say this because YouTube always flags you for it. Those people that were conspiracy theorists that were following Trump. Y'all know who I'm talking about. starts with a letter in the alphabet that I'm not going to say. I write the same letter that starts with my name, Queen. Okay? Yeah. So anyway, those people, okay, a far-right fringe belief, they have a belief, a far-right fringe belief that a cabal of cannibalistic Alesters, okay, inside the U.S. government have conspired against Trump. You know, those people were really far out, okay, really far-fetched in their thoughts, in their thought process. Behind the scenes, Trump and senior aides have also reached out to key MAGA-aligned influencers, urging them to dial down their criticism of the administration's handling of the Epstein investigation and shift focus to broader priorities for the America First movement. Now, I want you all to pay attention to something right here. I want you all to pay attention, okay? Because listen to this. What did they say? Trump and senior aides have also reached out to key MAGA-aligned influencers. Who are they? Remember how I told you all just weeks ago that the government absolutely reaches out to social media influencers to spew propaganda for them, to put out narratives for them, to paint pictures for them. Okay, they used to do it with the media. They've been doing it for decades, but now social media influencers are much more powerful than the mainstream media. So now they come to these influencers and they have these key MAGA-aligned influencers, and they say they've been urging them to dial down their criticism of the administration's handling of the Epstein investigation and shift focus to broader priorities for the America First movement. Now, what does that all mean? Well, I'm so glad you asked. It means exactly what I told you guys, that of course the government does get these social media influencers to spew their narratives, okay? And that would include the prosecution for the Southern District of New York, in my opinion. When I told you that sometimes they will pay influencers to spew certain narratives and say certain things, and y'all thought it was just a joke, okay, look it up. I showed y'all the receipts. Now, the backlash over the Epstein case has laid bare tensions inside Trump's coalition and is testing one of Trump's most enduring political strengths, his ability to command loyalty and control the narrative across the right. Now, the outcry comes amid discontent among parts of Trump's base over the U.S. strikes on Iran, continued involvement in Ukraine, and any hint of backsliding on the administration's hardline immigration promises. Now, Trump knew Epstein socially in the 1990s and early 2000s. During the 2021 trial of Epstein's associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, the financier's longtime pilots, Lawrence Viosky, testified, this is in court documents, that Trump flew on Epstein's private plane multiple times. See, that's where I got that from. When I told y'all that Trump had been on there at least 7 times, that's where it came from. It came from the pilot, Lawrence Viosky. Okay? Now, Trump has denied ever being on the plane and has not been accused of any wrongdoing. Oh, he has been accused of wrongdoing. See, that's a lie right there. I want you all to pay attention. That's a lie right there. When they say Trump has not been accused of any wrongdoing, they're a damn lie. Let's talk about it. First of all, for those of you that follow the backup channel, which I haven't been on there in months, but you may remember that sometime last year, I read to you the court documents from the person who was 13, the woman who said she was 13 when Trump arrested her. That's wrongdoing, right? Isn't that wrongdoing? Okay, and then didn't Trump get found guilty of 34 counts, felonies, that is? That's wrongdoing too. Now, are they trying to say that any of his wrongdoings, none of them had anything to do with Epstein? Well, I don't know about that, because if somebody says Trump did something to them, they accuse him of doing something when they were 13, that sounds like Epstein all over it to me. Okay, so I want you all to pay attention. He hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing. Yes, he has. And then there was didn't Virginia Giuffre, before she passed away, say that she saw Trump and Epstein? And wasn't there a couple of other witnesses, victims, who mentioned Trump? And didn't the former CEO of the casino say that both Trump and Epstein brought underage women to the casino? Now, they weren't under the age of 18, but they were under the age of 21. And they were too young to be in the casino where you can gamble and drink liquor. Isn't that wrongdoing? I think it is. What do y'all say? So I just want y'all to pay attention how they be lying, okay? How they be out here lying. With that all being said, they say the poll, which was conducted online, surveyed 1,027 U.S. adults nationwide and had a margin of error of about 3%, 3 percentage points. Honey, at the end of the day, these people should know by now Trump is a whole damn liar. Thank you. Queen Sam says, didn't Trump pay a corn star? Isn't that wrongdoing? Thank you. Hush money, Stormy Daniels, anyone? Exactly. Okay, I'm sorry. And here's the thing. Let me tell y'all something. See, I want you all to pay attention to how the world goes down, how it all goes down in the United States. So here we have Diddy, and they keep referring to Diddy as a disgraced music mogul, when in fact, Diddy was acquitted of the main charges against him. But what I find interesting is that they don't call Trump a disgraced former president or a disgraced current president, because he is disgraced. He was accused of paying hush money, okay, to a former corn star. He was accused of molesting someone when they were 13 or raping them. He was accused of all sorts of nefarious things, but yet he's in the White House. But we got people mad about Diddy. Y'all should be mad as hell that we have somebody who was accused of some of the same things people claim that Diddy did sitting up in the White House. Nobody's mad about that. Okay. And his own wife, Melania, is a former corn model. So what does that tell you? I'm just saying here. Okay. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. TC Dan said some fools voted for Trump, Queen. Of course they did. Yeah, some of them absolutely did, but they're talking trash about Diddy. That's all I'm saying. And please pay attention. Okay. Because this is how it goes down in the divided snakes. And so let me tell you what else Representative Massey had to say. As a matter of fact, I'll just let him tell you. I think I'm going to play this video because, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen because Massey says it should not be politically painful to be transparent about those Epstein files. And I have to agree. Okay, I have to agree. Show the darn files, but they're not going to do that. That's what they're never going to do. Okay, like, sub, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds.
Congressman Massey, I do want to go back to the fact that the House was adjourned early. House Speaker Mike Johnson has defended that decision. He says, look, the White House is already pushing for the release of the grand jury materials. Obviously, that's been held up in court. He's accusing you of trying to inflict political pain on your party by criticizing him for adjourning the House early. Is he right? Are you trying to inflict political pain with this criticism?
I don't know why it should be politically painful to be transparent. Is the pain he's talking about that somebody in our party will be embarrassed by those files? Then that's not a good excuse. Is the pain he's talking about is that the legislators, when they vote, have to pick between protecting embarrassment of the rich and powerful versus getting justice for victims? I don't really understand what he means by that. Why is it painful for Mike Johnson to call a vote on this? And it's, the American people deserve this, regardless of what the political ramifications are for the speaker.
Did y'all hear that? She said political pain. Why is it painful for them to put the truth out there, the truth that they promised? Nobody was asking about the Epstein files. Trump volunteered that information. Now he wants to fall back. Okay, now he wants to walk it back and backpedal and act like there's no such thing and everybody's crazy. Okay, and spew insults. Now, intelligent hoodlum, what are you talking about here? Talking about no choice but to vote for Trump. Excuse me, sir. What do you mean you had no choice? We all had a choice. Okay, please don't come here with that. You did have a choice. Okay, you absolutely had a choice, sir. Said, I'm serious. I wasn't no way voting for a drunken Kamala. Y'all crazy as hell if y'all voted for her. Oh, we're crazy. We're crazy if we voted for Kamala, sir. Anybody who voted for Trump is the ones who's crazy. Please pay attention. You actually think that Trump's better than Kamala? You actually think that Trump is better than Kamala, that we're better off than if she was the president? Now, I know I was going in on Kamala prior to the election. I was going in on Trump too, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure she could have done a better job than Trump's doing. Okay, Trump's out here acting reckless. He's out here lying. He's out here calling people nasty names when they criticize him for the lies that he's told. He's probably going to give Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon. Okay? Because he doesn't want her to say anything about him. Because he's lying, talking about he's never been on Epstein's flight. But the pilot said he's been on there multiple times. Multiple. Okay? And then all these pictures and stuff popping up. And then he lied and said he didn't send that birthday note when Trump, we all know you did it. Okay? He said that he never doodles. When in fact, I remember some years ago, there were some pictures that he doodled that were sold at an auction. The lies just keep coming and he keeps getting caught in them. But you think he's doing a better job than Kamala could have done? I'm sorry, but I beg to differ. And you absolutely had a choice. And if you chose Trump, then woe be unto ye. Okay? All right. When it all hits, because it's all coming down the pike real soon. Okay? Please pay attention. Now, I already warned you all about those tariffs and the economy and all of that. But anyway, let's continue. Let's continue because now Trump is trying to talk trash to Putin, and we're going to see how that all pans out for him. I'll get to that in just a second. But in the meantime, let's talk about how they say Trump, try though he might, he just cannot make the Epstein files go away. Okay, likes up everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, conspiracy theories are funny things. The most enduring ones usually take hold for two reasons. First of all, because there's some grain of truth to them. And then second, because they speak to foundational historical divisions. The theories morph and change, distorting the grain of truth at their center beyond reality. In the process, they reinforce and deepen existing divisions, encouraging hateful blindness. Now, President Donald Trump is perhaps the most successful conspiracy trafficker in modern American history. Do y'all hear this? They said Trump is perhaps the most successful conspiracy trafficker in modern American history. But here's the thing that's funny, though. Now he's claiming the people talking about the Epstein files that we're the conspiracy theorists. How many conspiracies has he put out there? Okay. Trump built his political career by trading on conspiracy theories. These have included a combination of racist birther conspiracies about former President Barack Obama's nebulous ideas, about former President Barack Obama, nebulous ideas about the deep state that conspired against the interest of regular Americans, and nods to a more recent online universe centered on that same letter that at the beginning of my name, Queen, okay, Anon. Now, which was supposedly an alleged Satanist ring of elite PDF files involving Hillary Clinton and saying that she was trafficking little people. These theories all had their own grain of truth and tapped into deep-seated historical fears. For example, Obama does have Kenyan heritage, and his blackness threatened many white Americans' sense of their own power. Revelations about disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein's trafficking in children and the way in which they implicated the elite of New York seem to confirm at least parts of the final theory. Okay, it tapped into the belief, one that does have some basis in reality, that America's elite play by rules of their own, above justice and without any accountability. Now, in the lead up to the 2024 presidential election, Trump increasingly engaged with this online universe. He seemed to quietly enjoy suggestions that he might be the anonymous leader of that conspiracy group, again with the letter starting with the beginning of my name, Queen. According to the theory, he was supposedly going to break the ring, the PDF file ring, wide open in what he called a day of reckoning. Yeah, so much for that. Many of Trump's perennially online supporters based their championing of him around these conspiracy theories. Believers were among those who stormed the Capitol on January the 6th of 2021. Okay, a core section of Trump's base continues to believe his promises that he would at least reveal the truth about JFK's assassination, the deep state, and Epstein. That it has long been public knowledge that Trump and Epstein had a long-standing friendship. Okay, and this did not impinge on those beliefs. Because and that's true. even though these people knew that Trump had been friends with Epstein, they really thought he was going to drain the swamp. Remember how they kept saying that? Oh, he's going to drain the swamp. He's going to bring them all down. They're all going to be locked up. He's going to lock up Barack and Oprah. All that crazy stuff. Okay? When I told you all, when they were saying all of that foolishness, I said Trump is the swamp. What are they talking about? He's going to drain it. Okay? So conspiracy theories have swirled around Epstein since at least his first arrest nearly 2 decades ago in 2006. After allegations of unlawful sex with a minor, Epstein was charged with solicitation of prostitution. This elicited suggestions that he was receiving special treatment because of his elite status as a New York financier and philanthropist. Okay, or philanthropist. Now, with that being said, this pattern continued over the next decade as accusations multiplied, culminating in his arrest in 2019 on federal charges of sex trafficking, including to a private island. The allegations touched the global elite, including former President Bill Clinton, the United Kingdom's Prince Andrew, and Trump. In August of 2019, Epstein was found dead in his cell, allegedly by an suicide, adding further fuel to the already intense conspiracy fire. Epstein's arrest and death occurred during the first Trump administration, mind you. Since then, there has been a steady trickle of accusations and revelations that have increased pressure on the administration to declassify and release material relating to the case. Now, many of Trump's most loyal supporters, including a set of influential podcasters and influencers, have built their audiences around Epstein and the insistence that the truth must be revealed. Early in the life of the current administration, Attorney General Pam Bondi, whom Trump says he's going to let her release the things that she deems as credible, remember? Now, they say Trump won't, who Trump says is a threat. Hold on. This looks like a typo. I think they meant Trump says is his personal lawyer, said she was reviewing the Epstein client list. Now, in the past few weeks, however, the administration has indicated it will not release the list or other materials relating to the case. But at the same time, more information about Trump's relationship with Epstein has trickled out, including more photos of the two together. And it's hard to deny the sense there is more to come. Trump's posting about the issue, despite his apparent wish to divert from it, seems only to compel more interest. Sections of his online conspiracy base, including vocal supporters such as Tucker Carlson, are outraged at what they see as betrayal. Now, y'all know Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, they loved him some Trump. Alex Jones, but all of these people at this point, they're all upset. Okay, and they want answers. Reports suggest a significant rift developing between Trump and key backer Rupert Murdoch over the issue. Democrats rightly sense weakness. Loyal Republicans seem rattled through that enough that Speaker of the House Mike Johnson called an early summer recess, sending Congresspeople home in an apparent effort to avoid any forced vote on the issue. The obvious inference, though it is the only one, is that Trump and the Republicans are so worried about what is in the Epstein material that they would rather cop strong backlash from the base, looking scared and weak, than release that information. If nothing else, that is a guaranteed way to fuel an already raging fire. Now, Trump's tanking approval rating and the issues have all led to an obvious question. Is this going to be the thing that finally scratches the Teflon president? Will his base turn on him at last? If history is anything to go by, that seems unlikely. Trump is remarkably resilient, using crises like this to consolidate his power. Trump commands loyalty, and he has it from Bondi, Johnson, and others in this weakened and increasingly ideologically driven federal government. And his conspiracy-fueled base is in so deep that turning on the president now is not just a question of admitting error, but one of core identity. Listen, I think this is going to be Trump's ruin. That's what I think. At least I hope it is. I think this is going to bring Trump crashing down. Okay? A shout out to Make It Make Sense up here in the Queen's chat says this issue should be bipartisan, period. All files, including Trump, Clinton, and any elite with a connection to Epstein, should be released. That's why offenders are on public registries. Protect kids. Absolutely, beloved. I absolutely agree with you. Okay. And thank you for your insight into the topic. Peace, love, and blessings. Absolutely. But see, here's the thing. I believe that both the Democrats and Republicans really, or at least some of them, not all, but there are some of these Democrats and Republicans, in my opinion, who really don't want the truth to come out. Now, they'll act as though they do, but quite frankly, I believe that some of both parties are on the list. And if there is no list, we at least know that there were definitely clientele. And they have Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book. There were names in there. They have the victims who are still alive that could tell who the people were that they were servicing. But they instead want to act as though Ghislaine Maxwell is the end all be all and that she's going to give them these salacious details. Let me tell y'all something. They're never going to release it. They're never going to release any of this stuff. It's just all smoke and mirrors as far as I'm concerned. And we can sit here and complain until the cows come home. But the bottom line is Trump. He is not going to ever tell the truth. All he's going to do is keep gaslighting us and deflecting and just giving us more and more lies. But I tell you one thing. If Trump dares to give Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon, like I think he may be thinking about doing, if he does that, I think his entire base will turn on him. And I hope they do. Okay, because that woman is just as much as a devil as Jeffrey Epstein. And you all heard what the victim just said. She said Ghislaine didn't come to her like a devil. She didn't come to her, being aggressive or mean or hateful. She came to her nice and sweet, being so kind, as though she's there to give guidance and try to help, all to lure her into the devil's den. And that's what she did to all of these young women. At the end of the day, every time I think about the sad story of Virginia Giuffre, it just really makes me want to cry. Okay. And so my thing is Trump. I just don't trust anything that he says. I don't trust most of these politicians, but definitely not him. And I think that he wants to give Ghislaine that pardon just so she'll never implicate him, because she absolutely can implicate him, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, they go on to say that U.S. mainstream media has long pursued a gotcha approach to Trump, driven by a model of journalism that still seeks out smoking guns and dreams of Watergate. Not unlike the conspiracy theories it reports on, this framing hopes for a neat, clear resolution to the story of U.S. politics. But politics doesn't work like that, especially not for Trump. Okay, now from the outside, Trump's attempts to pivot on the issue and build on his existing conspiracies around Obama and Hillary Clinton might look feeble, but they are tried and true. Trump is now focused on fanning theories around Obama and Clinton, broadening them to include accusations of treason. Trump's director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, went so far as to claim Obama had manufactured a years-long coup against President Trump. Even reporting on these claims with rightful incredulity adds fuel to the raging fire. Listen, I'm so disappointed in Tulsi. When I tell y'all I am so disappointed in Tulsi, I absolutely cannot believe that she's in cahoots with Trump. Okay, it's just sad to watch. Now, in the personality cult of an authoritarian leader, conspiracy is easily weaponized against enemies, perceived and real. In the febrile environment of U.S. politics, these conspiracy theories tap into and encourage a long vein of white supremacy and also racism. Okay, that has shaped American politics since even before the nation's founding. Trump can morph and change conspiracy theories like no one else, building on fears and deepening existing divisions. He understands the power of pointing to enemies from within and just how well that reinforces the narrative that he has already so successfully ingrained in U.S. political culture. We underestimate him and the power of conspiracy theory at our peril. What do y'all think about that, honey? This is a lot. They said we underestimate Trump and the power of conspiracy theory to our peril. Here's the thing. Some of these people, some of these Trump supporters, they will pretty much believe anything Trump says to the dying day. I mean, you could show them the lies, have proof and receipts, and they're still going to suffer from cognitive dissonance and won't act as though Trump's doing anything wrong. But many of them are, in fact, turning their backs on him, okay, because they want answers, all right? And people don't play about their children. When you have these people like Ghislaine Maxwell, and now the government's going to her for help. For what? This woman's a known liar. Okay. She's already perjured herself on the stand. And now she wants us to think that she didn't have anything to do with Epstein, that she needs to be released. Even if she was to cooperate and give all the names of everybody on the list, that still does not warrant that she should ever see the light of day, because we all know what she did. And people like her should have life sentences, okay? 20 years is not enough as far as I'm concerned, okay? And speaking of her, there's some never before seen footage that came out today. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this. Ghislaine Maxwell, jury sees never before seen photos of Epstein and defendant. Now, this actually came out yesterday. Hold on. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to share my screen. This is all interesting. Look at Trump. Remember when he took his own kids around Epstein? That's how you know Trump is crazy, okay? That's how you know he's crazy.
New York City, especially in the 1990s, is sort of a small town in the big city. Every career around conspiracy theories, starting with birtherism. He's basically created a Frankenstein's monster that is now broken out of the lab and is chasing him down Pennsylvania Avenue. Every photo that shows him anywhere near Epstein is going to be more fuel for the fire of this gigantic constituency for this conspiracy theory that Donald Trump himself helped to build.
It was so interesting to hear from Chairman James Comer, Jackie, talking to Manu, saying that he is hearing from constituents back home, which is so interesting when you have other Republicans administration officials denying that there is any interest out there. These members are absolutely hearing it from their constituents. So how excited are they to leave Washington and go home to that?
Well, that's the thing, is this is being pushed from back home. You talk to members on the Hill and they're getting calls into their offices about this. So this won't go away when they go back home. And the fact of the matter is, President Trump isn't going to run again. All of these members of the House have to run again. So they're going home. They're having to talk to their constituents about this, if they're even having town halls, instead of selling the legislative package and the tax cuts that they just pulled through. They're stuck talking about Epstein. That's not the media's fault. That's because their constituents, a lot of them in the MAGA base, are very interested and were promised transparency when it comes to the Epstein files.
And I keep waiting. And the White House clearly wants to move on from this, Jackie, for the first day of nothing in the Jeffrey Epstein saga. And I'm not even talking about the CNN exclusive here with the photos, but the Justice Department reaching out to Ghislaine Maxwell, House Republicans issuing a subpoena for her, largely driven at this point by either the Trump administration or the Trump allies. They're pushing this story forward.
Well, exactly. And that's one of yes, they are adjourning today for the summer recess. However, we know that there's also a discharge petition, which is a procedural measure that could force a vote to push them to the administration to release the Epstein files. So they're basically guaranteeing that this saga continues and bleeds into the fall. You've got to be kidding me.
Okay, y'all heard that. Now, Jay McClinton says, New York Post, Representative Massey says Trump is open to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell in exchange for telling Epstein's secrets. See, that's what I'm talking about. I knew that's what he would try. Didn't I tell you all? I am totally not surprised, honey. Okay? I am totally not surprised. At the end of the day, see, that would be his excuse. But in real life, just know that if he does pardon that woman, it is absolutely, in my opinion, that the reason would be so she doesn't implicate him. So she can just say, oh, no, Trump's name was never on there. He was never a client of Mr. Epstein's. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. That'll be one way he can use to try to get everybody to shut up. But Trump, nobody's falling for it. Okay? Nobody's falling for it. Hold on, beloveds. Let me see something real quick. This is all a hot mess. This came out an hour ago. Hold on. And thank you for that tidbit of information, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so this came out an hour ago. Trump repeats he's allowed to pardon. But now I want y'all to listen to this. See, Trump is on some, oh my God, this man is just totally insane. Trump says he's allowed to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell and he never went to Epstein Island. Now, I want y'all to pay attention. Now, when he's talking like that, he's absolutely about to give that lady a pardon. I want y'all to pay. When I tell you, y'all gonna see me crash out on live. I'm not even joking. I swear, if this man pardons Ghislaine after all the dirt that she has done, Donald Trump said, hold on. Donald Trump said that while he is allowed to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, a key associate of Jeffrey Epstein's, who served a 20-year sentence on sexual abuse charges, no one has asked him about it, and it would be inappropriate to discuss it. Now, see, here's the thing. That's how you know he's going to do it, because, or he's at least thinking about it, because he would have just said no. Okay? And then inappropriate to discuss it. Trump doesn't give a damn about what's inappropriate to discuss. This is the same one that said grab him by the ussy. Okay? Nothing is inappropriate as far as he's concerned. But now he wants to play these games. And then he says that he can pardon her. He's allowed to pardon her. As if he had to tell us that. We already know that he's allowed to pardon whoever he wants as the president. Okay? Trump made the remarks, which appear to be some of his most extensive to date, on Maxwell during questioning by reporters on July the 28th at his Trump Turnberry Golf Club in Scotland while meeting with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. A reporter asked Trump whether he would ever consider a pardon for Maxwell, who met with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche for 2 days last week to answer questions about Epstein. Critics have said the meetings with Blanche, Trump's former personal defense lawyer, were part of a White House effort to quell the backlash over the administration's handling of thousands of Epstein-related files in its possession. Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me. Okay, nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it. It's in the news about it, that aspect of it. But right now, it would be inappropriate to talk about it. Trump, sit your stupid self down somewhere. Okay, do y'all hear this bullshit? Do y'all hear this? This is all so annoying. I'm going to tell y'all right now. Trump better not give this devil a pardon, okay? Trump on July the 28th also hit back at a question about whether his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, or Blondie, okay, as I call her, has told him his name is mentioned in the federal government's Epstein files, as the Wall Street Journal reported last week. Trump knows that he knows. Pam Bondi told him this in May. He says, I haven't been overly interested in it. It's a hoax that's been built up way beyond proportion. Trump talking about a hoax. I want y'all to pay attention. Anything that Trump doesn't want to talk about is always deemed a hoax. Y'all remember when he said Stupid 19 was a hoax by the Democrats? Trump then suggested without evidence that former President Joe Biden and then Vice President Kamala Harris, FBI Director James Comey, and Attorney General Merrick Garland could have put fake and incriminating material about him. Do y'all hear this? Queen Sam said that hairpiece is a hoax. Okay, listen to this foolishness. Trump says that former President Joe Biden, then Vice President Kamala Harris, FBI Director James Comey, and Attorney General Merrick Garland could have put fake and incriminating materials about him into the files. So if there is anything about him in there, it's all fake. Okay, Trump, we got you. He says, I can say this. Those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden. All of the people that actually run the government, including the auto pen during the Biden administration. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had anything on Trump, I assume they would have released it. How'd I do, guys? Megyn says, Lord, please help us all. Okay? Y'all heard this? This man is crazy. Now he wants us to think that if anything about him is in fact in those files, it was all made up by Biden, Obama, Kamala, and Comey. I absolutely cannot. Okay. The president dismissed another Wall Street Journal report that said he drew a picture of a nude woman decades ago as part of a lewd birthday letter for Epstein when they were close friends. It was part of a book compiled by Maxwell that included contributions from other high-profile people, including former President Bill Clinton. And so anyway, they say Trump in Scotland also categorically denied that he'd ever been to Epstein's Caribbean island where sex trafficking of young girls allegedly occurred. I never had the privilege of going to his island, and I did turn it down. But a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island, and one of those was one of those very, very good moments. I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. If he didn't go, how in the hell does he know who went? Okay, how does he know who went? And then talk about he turned it down. Here's the thing, Trump, if you were never on Epstein's flight, if you weren't a fan of his, okay, why would he be inviting you to the island? And we all know what goes on there, okay, what went on there. Why would he ever have invited you, Trump? Please sit down, sir, okay? Your lies are coming out. So anyway, Trump also offered an explanation for why he broke off his friendship with Epstein after the two were close friends for many years. I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein because he did something that was inappropriate. He stole people that worked for me. You know, I said, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. He did it again, and I threw him out of the place. This man is too much, okay? He said he stole some of the people that worked for him. Is he telling on himself? How do you steal people? I want y'all to think about what he said. Because that's what he said. He stole people that worked for me. Were the people for sale and he didn't pay for them? He stole them because he was an sex trafficker. Okay? And I told him, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place. That's what he said. Trump's comments 3 days after Maxwell's lawyer said July the 25th that he is hoping Trump pardons the former British socialite for sex trafficking crimes she was convicted of in connection with a disgraced financier who died in prison. Okay. They say David Marcus spoke to reporters after his client's second day of interviews with Blanche in Tallahassee, Florida, near where Maxwell is serving a 20-year prison sentence for trafficking a minor to Epstein. Now, asked about Trump's comments earlier in the day about a potential pardon, Marcus told reporters, we haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. But Marcus said the president this morning said that he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way. So anyway, we already know the rest. Trump is going to pardon this lady. I think he's probably going to pardon her. Okay. I think he's absolutely. Okay. OG Patrice said, you just said you emailed me something breaking. Hold on, honey. Hold on. Let me see what it is. Let me see here. Hold on, you guys. Did you send it to my email or to my phone, OG Patrice? I don't see anything in my email. Hold on. Did you send it to my phone? I don't see it. Hold on. Is this it? No, that's not it. I don't see it, OG Patrice. Do me a favor and send it to my phone, beloved. How long ago did you send it? It's not coming up. It's not coming up. Hold on. Likes up, everybody. Please hit the like button. Thank you in advance. Okay, here it is. I got it, OG Patrice. Thank you. Y'all listen to this. This is totally off topic, but they said a Family Dollar building collapses, leaving at least one dead after shoppers pulled from rubble of the store in horrifying scene. Okay, 3 people were injured as the chaos unfolded at the discount store in Kansas City, Missouri on Sunday afternoon. So the building just collapsed. A man age 68 named locally as Larry Banks was killed, while a woman 50 was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Mike Hopkins, the Kansas City Fire Department battalion chief, told reporters that the man may have been just walking near the building when its roof collapsed. 2 others were hospitalized before being released, and pictures from the scene showed debris in front of the Family Dollar store. Locals told the Fox affiliate KHSB-TV that they helped to pull people out of the rubble. Authorities have received a report that the building had been slowly tilting just days before the horror unfolded. Now, this is all a shame. This is all a shame, honey. They should be sued, honey. Whoever had this piece of dilapidated building up there. Authorities had received a report that the building had been slowly tilting just days before the horror unfolded. Locals told the Kansas City Star they had been inside the Family Dollar store just moments before the roof collapsed. Do y'all hear this? Crystal Smith said she thought something wasn't right when she was inside the shop. Smith was visiting her mom, who lived in a nearby apartment complex, and her 5-year-old child told her the store's roof had collapsed. I ran downstairs instantly, and I was praying it wasn't a worker. Sierra Brown and her partner were among those who rushed to try and save Banks. Brown said she heard screams coming from an injured woman. A Family Dollar representative said they had been left deeply saddened at what happened, saying our hearts and thoughts are with those impacted. We are conducting wellness checks with our employees and offering them resources and assistance. They're going to be offering a whole lot more than that. Probably a building collapse on somebody's head and the man's dead and people injured. Yeah, we're going to need a lot more than condolences, ma'am. Okay. The spokesperson confirmed that an internal probe has since been launched. Fire crews have not confirmed when the building was last inspected. There are more than 7,000 Family Dollar stores in the United States, more than 1,000 of which are located in Texas. Okay, anyway, that's all sad. Well, condolences to the man who lost his life, to his family, friends, and loved ones. Oh, this is all crazy. Y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? This is all drastic, honey. Now, so, listen, they said the roof or the building looked like it was already tilting, okay, days before. If y'all see something like that, please don't enter. Queen Sam said, Most High keep us nearer to thee, okay? This is all crazy. Thank you, OG Patrice, for that update. Queen Sam said, because they throw those buildings up in a matter of weeks. Well, yeah, they do that as well, beloved, but this one probably is just old and worn. And they don't even remember when's the last time it's been inspected, according to the report. Or they don't know when the last time it was inspected. That's all crazy. Okay, so now before we roll out of here, let's talk about Putin. Hold on. They say bipartisan duo pushing for Epstein files. Release disagrees on Ghislaine Maxwell pardon. Okay, I'm going to play this video. I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. These people are coming down on Trump's head, as they should, rightfully so. The bottom line is, if Trump dares to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, that is going to be a huge slap in the face of all his supporters, okay, who thought he was going to be their saving grace, especially after some of them were foolish enough to think that he was going to drain the swamp, okay? He is the swamp.
Bipartisan duo who is teaming up to force a House vote demanding the release of the Epstein files. Republican Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky and Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California. Welcome to Meet the Press to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much for being here. I want to start with a question for both of you. House Speaker Mike Johnson, who will be my next guest, has accused you of being hypocritical for pushing for the release of these files now and not when former President Biden was in office. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Remember, President Biden and his DOJ had these files for 4 years. Neither of those guys said a word about it. Thomas Massey is suggesting that this is some sort of watershed moment. We are all on the same page trying to advance the truth, full truth and transparency. And the idea that he's suddenly so concerned about it is curious to me. He waited until President Trump was elected to bring
Hypocritical?
See, I want you all to pay attention. Now they're trying to say that Biden, if he was so curious about it or so concerned, why didn't he do anything when he was in office and he waited until Trump got in there? First of all, Trump's the one who volunteered. He's the one who came out and said that he was going to release the files. Okay, that's why people are interested, because he brought it up. That was one of his campaign promises. JFK, MLK, and Epstein files. Isn't that what he said, in fact? And here's another thing. The fact that Biden didn't release them, well, that's all because, in my opinion, that both the Republicans and the Democrats, which I keep telling you all, none of them really, collectively, there may be a few of them, but a handful of them from both parties who actually want the files to come out. But there are more of them, in my opinion, in both parties that don't. Okay, because I think that Democrats and Republicans are on that list. Okay? Now, some of them will sit there and pretend that they want the files released because they know Trump's never going to release them. They know it's a nothing burger. They know Ghislaine Maxwell talking to Trump's DOJ is a nothing burger. We're not going to get any more information than what we already have. I keep telling you all this. Remember, you heard it here first. We're not going to get any more information. There's not going to be any names. There's not going to be any watershed moments. All Trump is going to do is use the fact that he'll lie and say Ghislaine helped him, and then he'll say, I need to give her a pardon for at least trying to help us by giving us information on Epstein, which we can't give to you because then we'd have to open up another investigation, in which we don't want to do that because, you know, some of the people are dead. Okay, please pay attention. Specifically Epstein. All right, but let's continue.
Seems that way to me.
Congressman Khanna, let me start with you first. Why are you pushing for the release of the Epstein files now and not during President Biden's administration?
Well, Speaker Johnson's a friend. We came into Congress together, but I hope he'll join us for transparency. Actually, in 2019, I tweeted out that I was working with Elijah Cummings to have a full investigation of the Epstein situation and the debts associated with it. Then in 2021 and in 2024, the courts started to release Epstein files. Then you had a situation where the president of the United States, President Trump, says, when he's president, we're going to release all the files. And Pam Bondi says that there's a client list. There may not be a client list, but we're going to release all the files. I didn't say anything while giving him the benefit of the doubt in the first few months. What triggered this is Pam Bondi issuing a memo saying there's nothing more to be seen after saying that there was an Epstein file and a list. And that's what triggered this crisis of trust. That's why we need a full disclosure now, and why I have teamed up with Representative Massey and 11 other prominent Republicans to demand that.
Well, Congressman Massey, let me turn to you. What say you? Are you being hypocritical by demanding this now and not sooner?
No, not at all. Look, the release of the Epstein files is emblematic of what Trump ran for and why he got the populist vote. There seems to be a class of people beyond the law, beyond the judicial system, that operates outside of all of that. And we all thought that when Trump was elected, he would be the bull in the china shop and that he would break that up and bring transparency. Frankly, it wasn't until just recently that I realized that people who were allegedly working on this weren't sincere in their efforts. And also, politics is the art of the do.
Now I want you all to pay attention to what he said. He said, we all thought. No, sir. We didn't all think anything. Only fools thought that. Okay? Only fools believed Trump when he said he was going to release the Epstein files. Okay? That's who believed that, sir. Don't say we all thought, because I didn't think any such thing. I knew darn well Trump was not going to release any Epstein files. Okay? Because Trump's all up and through the Epstein files. Okay? Period. That's what I knew. So speak for yourself. But let me continue.
Doable. There's enough public pressure right now that we can get 218 votes and force this to a vote on the floor. Somebody should ask Speaker Mike Johnson, why did he recess Congress early so that he didn't have to deal with the Epstein issue? He can bring this to the floor at any point, yet he's chosen to send us home early for August recess.
Well, Congressman Massey, let me delve into this with you. We will get to Johnson in just a moment. The Department of Justice says they will not be releasing further Epstein material in order to protect what they say is more than 1,000 victims, many of whom were underage. I want to read you a little bit of a DOJ memo, which writes, quote, sensitive information relating to these victims is intertwined throughout the materials. One of our highest priorities.
This is how you know it's all cap and lies and BS, okay? And they're gaslighting us. If they want to release the files, the client list or whatever, they could just have all those names put on one piece of paper or however many pieces of paper it takes. If they don't want us to know the victims and they're trying to protect them, they could redact the names of the victims. Like, this is so stupid. Do they really think we're this dumb? I mean, I know some of the MAGA people are that dumb, clearly, but at the end of the day, do they think we're all collectively that stupid? Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Now, this is all just a load of BS, smoke and mirrors, more lies, and just more BS excuses as to why they're not going to release the names, period. And here's the thing. You know, when they say that there is no list, well, technically, there may not be a list, as in paper with everybody's name written from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There may not be anything of that sort, but there is for damn sure names, okay, of the people that were Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's clients. They know who those people are. We know who some of them are, okay? We don't know who some of them are. I think we do. I think we do. Some of those people who were in those documents that they released last year or whenever it was, the 900 plus documents, some of those people named, and there were some of those clients, but they told us they were just named in court filings and there's no reason to suspect them of any wrongdoing. Please miss me with it. I think absolutely those were some of Epstein's clients, okay? Other articles that I have read to you all with different names that were mentioned, I think some of those people, in my opinion, I think some of those people were some of Epstein's clients. Jean-Luc Brunel. Well, we already know what he had going on with Epstein. He procured at least 1,000 young girls for Epstein. And then he turned up dead in his prison cell 2 years and 6 months after Epstein did, while he was awaiting trial, okay? For some of the same things that Epstein was waiting trial for when he turned up dead. So this is all just a whole load of BS. This is probably the biggest cover-up in the United States history. That's what it looks like to me. What do y'all think? But let's keep listening to the lies and the bullshit, shall we?
Priorities is combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. Perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither one of those ends. What is your response to the concern that releasing these files could ultimately hurt the victims, Congressman Massey?
Well, look, that's a straw man. Roe and I carefully crafted this legislation so that the victims' names will be redacted and that no child pornography will be released. So they're hiding behind that. We're trying to get justice for the victims and transparency for America. And so, you know, we've redacted things before. We don't want to hurt the victims. We're doing this for the victims. I think it's just something that they're hiding behind. And at the end of that statement, I heard something about conspiracy theories or something like that. Look, they're the ones, it's the president's own attorney general, FBI director, and children who said that, and vice president, who said that these files need to be released. We're just trying to hold their feet to the fire.
Well, Congressman, kind of take another piece of this based on what you are proposing in this legislation. The names of, frankly, anyone who flew on Jeffrey Epstein's planes or visited any of his properties, anyone named in the files who was not a victim will likely be publicly released if these files are released. Is it fair to release files that may never see their day in court, but could be devastating, quite frankly, to the people mentioned in them?
Kristen, it's a fair question, but I want to just focus first on the victims. Bradley Edwards, who's the lawyer for the victims, has demanded a full release of the files, obviously with the victims' names redacted. He said the Justice Department has never cared about the victims, about centering the victims. They gave Jeffrey Epstein the plea deal the first time. They never cared about victims' rights.
Exactly. They don't give a darn about any victims, okay? They can miss us with it. At the end of the day, this is all lies and BS. Intelligent Hoodlum says, y'all favorite people y'all defend the most is on the list. Who are we defending? Okay, who are we defending? We don't know who's on the list, and neither do you. Now, we know some of the names that we properly can say are on there because of some of the things that have been exposed. But at the end of the day, there's no telling who's on the list, to be honest. It could be anybody. But what I do know is we're never going to see who it is. That's what's not going to happen, okay? That's what's not going to happen. All right? Just more lies is all we're ever going to keep getting.
And no one has asked the victims what they want. They do want these files released for closure and for healing. Now, there's a reason the Justice Department usually doesn't release information before charging people, and I understand the sensitivity of that. But in this case, given that this has created a trust in our very government itself, given people feel that the rich and the powerful have been not held accountable, that they have a different set of rules, and that there may be government officials involved, there possibly could be foreign government involved, business involved, financial fraud involved. The president should say, I ran on this. The attorney general promised this. We're going to do a clean, full release. And I think the American people are fair. They're going to be able to distinguish between someone who got a grant from Jeffrey Epstein to do cancer research versus rich and powerful men who were abusing underage girls.
Congressman Massey, I do want to go back to the fact that the House was adjourned early. House Speaker Mike Johnson has defended that decision. He says, look, the White House is already pushing for the release of the grand jury materials. Obviously, that's been held up in court. He's accusing you of trying to inflict political pain on your party by criticizing him for adjourning the House early. Is he right? Are you trying to inflict political pain with this criticism?
I don't know why it should be politically painful to be transparent. Is the pain he's talking about that somebody in our party will be embarrassed by those files? Then that's not a good excuse. Is the pain he's talking about is that the legislators, when they vote, have to pick between protecting embarrassment of the rich and powerful versus getting.
Okay. We already heard that part of his conversation. Intelligent Hoodlum keeps saying, yeah, some of y'all favorites. Hoodlum, who are some of our favorites, beloved? Okay. Jay McClellan said Republicans hate Massey. I know they do. I know they do, especially right about now. So James Allen said, I think it's mostly elites, corporates, and government. Okay. And a sprinkle of entertainers. Yeah, I agree. Specifically, I think it's a lot of politicians. That's just my opinion. I think it's a lot of these politicians, okay, like Trump the dump. That's just what I think. Okay, and so with that all being said, honey, we're never going to find out who's on the list, and they can sit here and try to pretend that they're so concerned about the victims, but if they really were concerned about the victims, don't you know they would really want justice for them? They would want justice for these victims, okay? They would not be hiding behind it like that man said, trying to act as though, oh, the victims can be embarrassed. Redact their names. Go talk to the victims that are still living, the ones that they haven't offed to keep them from talking, okay, like they did Virginia Giuffre, allegedly. But go talk to them and see if they want this stuff to come out, because I'm pretty sure they do. So anyway, honey, this is all just a load of BS. At the end of the day, we're never going to get any information. And like I said, Trump's going to end up pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. That's just what I think. And that is just going to be the most low down, dirtiest thing that he could ever do, in my opinion. Okay, so anyway, let's continue, because Trump says he's disappointed in Putin. Says he'll reduce the 50-day deadline. President Trump issues a new deadline to Russian President Vladimir Putin, 10 to 12 days from Monday. Honey, do y'all think Putin is really concerned about Trump's silly self? Oh my goodness. He's not even in the same category as Putin. Hold on. Let me go to this. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Mr. President, what about Russia and Ukraine? You're talking about ceasefires. What's the way?
I would have said 5 times we would have had a deal. I've spoken to President Putin a lot. I got along with him very well. But 5 times, and every time 4 times maybe. But we've had discussions. You and I have had discussions. Yeah. We thought we had that settled numerous times. And then President Putin goes out and starts launching rockets into some city like Kiev and kills a lot of people in a nursing home or whatever. You have bodies lying all over the street. And I say, that's not the way to do it. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed in him. So we're going to have to look, and I'm going to reduce that 50 days that I gave him.
Let me tell you all something. Trump's sitting here talking about he's disappointed in Putin, and then you heard what he said Putin did. But when other people do the same thing, and we're not going to say who those people are, we already know who they are. But when they do the same thing, he doesn't say anything about that. Trump needs to shut the hell up with his stupid self. Okay? All of y'all who voted for this clown, I hope y'all just really feel the heat, okay, from the foolishness that he's about to do. It's going to be even worse than what we've seen thus far. Okay, please pay attention. Now, a century prophetic bastard said, our favorite entertainer is Queen Ahmadiyyah, so shut the F up. I know that's right, beloved. Thank you. And I know I'm not on Epstein's list, honey. Y'all can miss me with it. All right. Now, with that all being said, Trump sitting here talking like he's running Putin, please. And so anyway, with that being said, it goes on to say that Trump originally set a 50-day deadline for Putin to reach a peace deal on July the 14th while meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte in Washington, D.C. However, by moving up the deadline to 12 days from Monday, he cut the overall end date in half. So he says, I'm not so interested in talking anymore. This is what he told reporters while sitting next to British Prime Minister Keir Starmer after he said Moscow and Washington might make a deal ahead of the secondary sanctions set to be implemented now in less than 2 weeks. He talks, we have such nice conversations, such respectful and nice conversations, and then people die the following night. No deaths have yet been confirmed from the early morning strikes that hit the capital city of Kiev, wounded at least 5, including a 2-year-old girl. The other strikes targeted the Kamensk, I don't even know what this word is, honey, Kamensk region to the west of Kiev and the Kirovohrad region to the south of Kiev. The Ukrainian Air Force reported on Monday that 324 Shahed-type attack and decoy drones were fired along with 4 KH-101 cruise missiles and 3 KH-47M2 Kizal aeroballistic missiles. Ukraine's air defense systems reportedly shot down 309 UAVs and 2 KH-101 cruise missiles. Okay, well, you know, that's how it goes when there's war. Okay. That's how it goes when there's war. Trump, please sit down somewhere. Because like I said, he's sitting here talking trash about Putin. But you don't say anything about those other folks when they do the same thing that you just said Putin was doing. And I find that interesting. So Trump can shut the hell up. Isn't he the same idiot that said he wanted to purchase the Gaza Strip and turn it into a resort? Isn't that what he said? Queen Sam said, Putin don't care. Putin don't cry for me unless I send. Putin don't come for me unless I send for you, Trump. Is that what he wants to say? I bet he won't say it. Y'all know good and well that Trump is scared of Putin. He's sitting here talking tough. Okay, he's sitting here talking tough, but he doesn't want any smoke with Putin for real. Matter of fact, who does Trump really want to smoke with? Let's talk about it. He's always talking about the U.S. is so big and bad and all this, that, and the third. And well, we might be. But I tell you one thing, they don't want any smoke with Russia. They don't want any smoke with China. They damn sure don't want any smoke with North Korea. So there's that. Not so big and bad after all, that's all I'm saying. Please pay attention. Okay, please pay attention. All right, DJ Big Six said Queen 2028. I wish I would run for president, okay, in this hellhole of a country. Honey, they would probably try to take me out quick, fast, and in a hurry, okay? Please pay attention. With that all being said, I'm about to be out of here, all right? I want to thank you all for tuning in. Everyone, please like and share. Queen Sam said he wants smoke with Sleepy Joe and Obama. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, Elaine said, Elaine is here said, yes, Donald is a dummy. Absolutely. What? Desmond says, Queen, Deion Sanders admitted he was battling bladder cancer. Are you serious? Oh, Desmond, why'd you tell me that? Thank you, beloved. I got to look into that. Y'all know I love me some Deion Sanders, honey. Skeletor fan said, Queen, I'll be creating hypothetical scenarios in North Korea, and I love the responses. Okay? So with that all being said, listen, I might be back later on today, so you all stay tuned. You know, we had a good time with that late night live the other day. We had a good time, so I might be back later. It's not going to be late, though. Maybe around 6 or 7, I might come back. Okay, so anyway, keep your notifications on. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Don't forget to like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And listen, make sure you're following Conversations with Jay and Mims and make it make sense. All right? With that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives.
Hit him with that flavor. All in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen,